Hello everyone. In today's video, I want to invite you along on my latest trip to the UK. As some of you may know, I used to live there, and a part of me really misses the rainy days, the lovely and spontaneous encounters, and the beautiful landscapes you find once you leave the city. This trip was our main holiday of the year, and my husband and I wanted to do something a little different for us, something slower, to recharge our batteries and to celebrate our first year of marriage. It is also our first summer with Tofu, and of course we wanted him to come along. On the main agenda was to enjoy the slow train journeys, spend time in nature, explore mystical places in the Scottish Highlands, and share quality time with dear friends and family in London, and mark the end of my master's degree with the graduation ceremony. Last autumn, I spent a few days in the Scottish Highlands with my mother-in-law. It was my first time visiting the Isle of Skye and parts of Glencoe, and I completely fell in love with it. The trees were just starting to turn shades of orange and brown, and there was gentle crispiness in the air. We saw so many places in only 3 days, and ever since, I've been longing to return, especially with my husband, so we could experience this beautiful place together. So grab a cup of tea or coffee and let's head off together. Our day started early, with the first train carrying us away from the summer heat of Geneva and towards the bustling streets of Paris. We were relieved to be heading north again, chasing cooler air. Once in Paris, we had 2 hours to get ourselves from Gare de Lyon to Gare du Nord for our connection to Calais. Normally, you can take the Eurostar directly from Paris to London. However, they don't allow dogs. So in order to enter the UK, we booked a pet shuttle service that picked us up from Calais station. We got some help with the paperwork, and once ready, we continued the journey via the Eurotunnel. It was indeed exciting, and so thought Tofu too. He was a little confused at first, but happily complied with all the safety rules and slept through most of the journey. After some queues and undersea travels, we finally arrived in Ashford, UK. It felt like ages ago since I was last in England, and it was emotional to be back. We were met by a beautiful sunset whilst driving towards our hotel for the night. We needed some rest before continuing the journey towards Scotland. We allowed ourselves a calmer morning and took the opportunity to explore Ashford. During our walk, we discovered a lovely park near the train station. After our walk, we made our way to the station to catch the train to London St Pancras. The 40-minute journey passed quickly, giving us time for another walk and lunch before heading to King's Cross. a station that truly feels like a portal to the magic realm. especially if you grew up with Harry Potter. While my first introduction to this station was through the books and movies, visiting as an adult allows me to appreciate its unique energy even more. From there, we boarded our train to Edinburgh. The journey was spent listening to music, reading, and talking about the adventure ahead. I love train travel. It really provides space to think and process things that you are going through. There's something about watching landscapes shift and change and creates a sense of progress, of moving forward. As we drew closer to Scotland, mist began to sweep across the fields and hills. Before we knew it, we had arrived. The next morning, I woke up early to experience beautiful Edinburgh in solitude. We only had half a day before continuing our journey to Inverness. I truly treasure this city, its architecture, history, and the special energy that flows through its streets. Thanks to all the rain, the city is green and remains cool despite the summer season. It always feels a bit autumnal here, no matter the time of year. There are only a few places I've visited that inspire an instant desire to read and write, quite like Edinburgh. With all its energies and lingering spirits, I'm not surprised the city has inspired countless writers. The city is also special to me because it was the first destination my partner and I travelled to when we had just met. So it holds a special place in my heart for many reasons. I made my way over to one of my favourite coffee shops, The Milkman, for a morning coffee and took it to go to enjoy in the park. And that was about all I had time for before returning to the hotel to pick up my partner in Tofu. We then walked over to the station to catch the final train towards our main destination. At midday, we arrived in Inverness. It was our first time visiting this charming little town. We chose it as our base due to its closeness to the Highlands, while still having cafes and shops nearby. Upon arriving, we explored along the river and were very lucky to encounter a very special welcome. Where did we go? There. The town is wonderfully quaint, and we took our time walking around the area. This place has its own mystical quality. Not a single clock seems to keep the same time, and the town has hosted many myths and legends. We rented a car here to ease our Highland explorations. Once the car was secured, we collected our luggage, gathered groceries, and headed to our Airbnb, located about 20 minutes outside of town. Before we knew it, we found ourselves surrounded by fields and grazing cows. The silence was profound. And I felt deep gratitude for the calmness. We spent a short time settling in, then took Tofu for an evening walk to explore the surrounding landscape. He encountered sheep and cows for the first time, which he was very excited about, although the cows were a little scary when they came too close. It was a magical evening, and the sky put on quite a show. Our cozy little hut felt like a dream come true. The following day, our Highland adventures would truly begin, and we were ready to make the most of it. We were located not too far from the legendary Loch Ness, so it was a natural place to start. As soon as we spotted the loch's long stretch of dark water, we made a quick stop to take it in. We continued driving alongside it until we reached a small village where we would stop properly. Loch Ness is, of course, world famous for its monster, Nessie, and the many folk tales. We kept our eyes out for her, and so did Tofu. However, he got a little distracted by the many ducks. We went for a walk along the small harbour that led to a beach with great views over the loch. We took some pictures and found a spot to sit and enjoy the stunning scenery. It's amazing to imagine that this lake actually contains more water than all the lakes of England and Wales combined. Yet, it's still not the largest loch in Scotland. The water's dark colour comes from the peat that washes down from nearby mountains and hills. Considering the dark waters and the incredible depth of the loch, it's no wonder it has inspired so much mystery. There are also several wells and springs around this area that are believed to have healing powers. We didn't visit them at this time, but I would love to come back and explore more. We had some lunch before continuing our adventure for the day. We continued the drive to Balmoral Castle, which took us around 3 hours. Neither my husband or I drive much normally. We don't own a car, so it was good practice. It was also our first time driving on the left side of the road, which took a couple of hours to get used to. Luckily, the stunning scenery passing by helped ease any driving anxiety. I was in constant amazement. Balmoral Castle, with its rich history and as the current summer residence of the British royal family, is located next to a beautiful river and surrounded by fields and woodland. We started by exploring the gardens and the castle's exterior. It was a very dog-friendly location. Dogs were allowed in the gardens and even inside the ballroom if carried. The ballroom isn't always open to the public, but we were lucky to visit the small exhibition there. My favorite part was walking along the river and looking through the many blossoms in the garden. We didn't stay too long, and after some dinner, we started the drive back. Driving around the Highlands is a dream in itself. I used to have quite severe driving anxiety, especially on busy roads. It felt freeing to be able to drive and explore these landscapes, stopping whenever we wanted, whether to take a picture or just to admire the view. I had prepared a playlist of my favorite movie soundtracks, which I played on repeat. I got so much inspiration from simply witnessing the dramatic scenery paired with the music that sparks magic and mystery. Even the drive itself became an experience that still stays with me. Many stories unfold or draw inspiration from Scottish nature, and our next location holds a magical place in countless hearts, including ours. We travel toward Glencoe to visit the Glenfinnan Viaduct, a spectacular bridge set among historic surroundings. Built in 1901, it has become a symbol of Scottish heritage and cinematic fame. My first introduction to this bridge was through the Harry Potter films, as it is for many others, though the viaduct has featured in many more stories. I visited this place last year on the group tour, but we only had 40 minutes, far too short. There are several walks and hikes that leads to stunning viewpoints. We started by following an easy trail that led us close to the bridge. A small river flowed alongside the path, winding beneath the viaduct and continuing on through the valley. We paused there to admire the bridge up close. Then we walked back toward Loch, which lies very close to the viaduct. Seeing the view over the Loch felt like stepping into a painting. We made our way to a nearby viewpoint to see both the Loch and the viaduct from different perspectives. We were excited to have arrived just in time to see the last train crossing of the day. Since I was little, I found inspiration in movies. At a time when I couldn't travel on my own, they were like windows into other worlds. Now, as an adult, being able to visit a place I once dreamed of as a child filled me with such deep joy and inspiration. I truly wish more people could experience that feeling. The next day, we woke up extra early to have time to explore the fairy pools on the Isle of Skye. I had spent a day on the Isle of Skye once before, staying in a little town called Portree, and I remember visiting shops selling local artwork. What caught my eye the most were the many interpretations of the fairy pools, a series of natural rock pools formed by waterfalls. They looked absolutely magical, and I knew I had to find a way to come back and see them in person. After a couple of hours' drive, we finally arrived. We made sure to wear good clothes that could face the rain and cool winds before starting the 30-minute hike towards the main pools. The nearby mountains were covered in mist, and it didn't take long before we reached the first of the many waterfalls. This place carries echoes of dark history and bloody battles, as well as myths that tie to the Scottish folklore. One of the most well-known legends tells of a clan chief who married a fairy princess. If you visit Dundreggan Castle on the Isle of Skye, you can see the fairy flag, which is connected to this legend and believed to hold protective powers over the clan in battle. The fairy pools were also believed to be gateways for magical beings like selkies, who would come to bathe under the full moon. You can swim in the cold, crystal clear waters, though I wasn't quite brave enough to dive in myself at this time. We did, however, touch the water and took a quiet moment there before starting the walk back. Tofu was the bravest of us. Once on our way back, it began to rain, and Tofu was not too happy with us. Walking back through the freezing rain, it did cross my mind that some might think we were crazy for choosing this as our summer holiday, when technically we could have taken the train to Italy a lot faster. But we made it back and we had no regrets. We stopped at the local pub to warm up and get some food before driving back towards Inverness. Whilst on our way to visit a well-known shopping centre in the Highlands, we made a spontaneous stop at Blair Castle. Dating back to the 1200s, the castle has lived through many historic events. You can visit both the interior and the beautiful gardens. We spent most of our time exploring the gardens with Tofu. It was late July, and the late summer blooms and fruits were at their peak. There were many little corners that reminded me of scenes from old fairy tales. We had a total of 6 full days in the Highlands, and the time felt as though it passed too quickly. We were coming close to our last day before returning to London. The next morning, I made sure to take some time to fully take in the place we were staying at. I could have honestly stayed at this hut for the full days to just enjoy the scenery. Lately, I've struggled to meditate in the morning as much as I used to, and I've been trying to get back into that routine. When you're traveling, it's easy to get caught up in the movement. But sometimes you just need to slow down and ground yourself. I made space to enjoy my morning coffee and took a few deep breaths, keeping my focus on my breathing, the taste of the coffee, and simply being present. We're so used to being connected to our phones, and I had to remind myself to forget mine for a few minutes. It was calming to watch the cows grazing peacefully in the sunshine that we were lucky enough to witness, something that seems rare in Scotland. After that, I continued with my morning pages, or free writing, a practice I've done for many years. It helps to clear both the mind and the pen, especially when facing writer's block. If you're new to free writing, it means writing without interruption for a set time. The goal is not to write something good or perfect. The goal is to simply write and see where it takes you. Sometimes it leads you down a path you didn't expect, and the more you do it, the easier it becomes to keep the pen moving. Often, when I meditate, I use cards or similar tools for guidance. They can be a helpful way to communicate with the universe. I've recently started learning how to use runestones for guidance as well. I'm still learning their meanings, but I've found these practices also serve as beautiful tools for creative writing. Our last stop on our Highland adventures was one of my favourites. The Dundreggan Rewilding Centre. It's a place in the heart of the Highlands, close to Loch Ness, where you can actually see rewilding projects in action. If you love nature, or want to spend more time in nature but not sure where to go, I can warmly recommend a visit. The centre is surrounded by a 10,000-acre rewilded estate that's home to over 4,000 plant and animal species, including many rare and protected ones. You can explore pine woods and unique juniper forests along their trails, or join one of their guided walks. They also organize volunteer opportunities. It's truly a hub for learning more about rewilding and how humans can help nature. It was fascinating to see how human activity has shaped the Highlands over time, and how these projects are helping to restore balance. One example of these projects is how they are planning to reintroduce predators to the Highlands, since they have a big problem of overpopulation in deers. Of course, they have to proceed with caution and understand the domino effect for the many ecosystems. At the centre, you can learn a lot about these projects by just looking around at their exhibition. There's also a lovely little shop filled with local products and books. There's also a cozy cafe. I didn't discover until I was there that I just missed one of their guided walks about folklore in the Highlands. I couldn't resist browsing the books and ended up bringing one home on that very topic. We then went for one of their forest walks. I love how accessible and welcoming they've made it to explore nature. Tofu was in his element, showing off his happy walk, something he recently learned. And we even spotted a tiny frog along the way. This was the perfect ending to our Highland adventures before making our way back to London. We might have left Scotland physically, but I carried with me all the inspiration and new learnings. It took us a day and a half to return to London. Once we arrived at King's Cross, something happened that instantly sent my stress levels through the roof. So I've just arrived at King's Cross in London from Edinburgh and realized I have lost my camera on the train. And I don't know if I want to cry or want to laugh at this point, because all the nice footage from our Scotland trip is on there. Yeah, let's see what happens. I couldn't believe I'd completely forgotten to grab my camera when we changed trains in Edinburgh. I felt so stupid and sad. I've had that camera for over 10 years, and it's been with me through so many incredible moments. At the end of the day, I know it's only a material thing. But some things hold a special kind of attachment. In that moment though, there wasn't much we could do. I tried to see what lesson the situation might be trying to teach me. I did some research on what steps to take, and the following day, Tofu and I went back to King's Cross to test our luck. I have an update. I found my camera. It's the day after. I'm like crying. I have all the content and it's here intact. God. After finishing my master's studies, the day to celebrate that milestone had finally arrived. I was especially grateful that my dad could come over from Sweden and that 2 of my best friends could join as well.
Highland.
It meant so much to spend some downtime with my friends and family, as well as some of my classmates who are now scattered across the world. And the fact that Tofu could be there too. One part of me comes alive when I'm far away from people, surrounded by nature. But another part of me feels equally energized when I'm in the city, especially London. Despite all its busyness and chaos, you can still find beautiful, calm moments there too. And sometimes even a little bit of nature. After another few days, we started the final stretch home to Geneva, via Ashford, Calais, and Paris. Thank you for joining us on this adventure, and thank you for being here on my channel. This video took me a lot longer to finish than I had ever expected. So the fact that you're still here watching this means a lot to me. So truly thank you for watching. Sending you light and magic. See you soon, and happy autumn.